In this series of videos, I'm working through the chapters of my latest book, Value Me, Benefits of Being a Highly Sensitive Professional. And for this particular video, we're going to be looking at chapter 4, which is all about loving what you do. I'll read just a little bit from this chapter. This is page 25. In Elaine Aron's book, The Highly Sensitive Person, she says, many HSPs labour in situations that make them unhappy. And I've certainly found that statement to be true. Many of the highly sensitive professionals I know or have worked with feel that it's impossible for them to find work that they enjoy and where they feel accepted and valued. To be labelled as sensitive is to be perceived as weak and fragile, and often not capable of doing your job well, when in fact the opposite is true. Highly sensitive people are strong and very capable, and that's a large part of the problem. When the environment is right and they feel good at work, HSPs can easily outshine other employees. They are more capable, not less. They are more talented, can be more productive and more innovative than non-HSPs, and they can be punished for it by being criticised, ignored, or even bullied by their co-workers or bosses. Some HSPs I know have been made to feel so uncomfortable at work that they felt their only option was to leave. Some feel so stressed that they develop stress-related illnesses. Many attempt to force themselves to fit in and deny their sensitive nature, which leads to stress and feeling overwhelmed. As an HSP, you can learn to love your work, to get on well with your co-workers, and really thrive in your chosen profession by being exactly who you are. However, to do this, you cannot ignore your trait of sensitivity. You must embrace it, work with it, and help others to understand it. Ignoring it only creates stress and stifles your uniqueness. Your HSP traits are among your greatest assets. When you don't love what you do, your experience at work can be just miserable. I've worked with many people who did actually enjoy the work they did, but the culture of the organization, or even just a few individuals, made their experience so unbearable that they just had to leave. Highly sensitive people often stand out as being different, and this can cause other people to feel threatened or insecure, whether they are aware of what's happening or not. Now, when I first moved to the US, I was not allowed to have a job with the visa that I had, but I did want to work, and so I volunteered. And one of the first volunteer jobs I had was at a Humane Society veterinary clinic. Because I love animals. And they were constantly busy because their veterinary services were less expensive than other places. The waiting room was always full of anxious people and their pets who needed attention, and there was always a lot to be done. So I thought they would welcome another pair of hands. Now, there were 2 vets working at any given time, and there were 3 vet assistants. My job was to help out really in whatever way was needed, and that mainly consisted of cleaning the treatment rooms after the vet had seen a patient, wiping down the tables, cleaning up any accidents that had happened, clearing away materials that had been used, and making sure the room was well stocked with everything the vet would need. And this is a job that the vet assistants usually did, and so I was helping them out. Now, I am someone who hates to be bored, and I do think that's a common trait for highly sensitive people. I don't like to just stand around. I would rather be busy, so I tend to jump in and help out wherever I can. And it can make the day much more interesting, I think, anyway. So whenever one of the vets finished seeing a patient in a treatment room, I was there immediately to clean it ready for the next patient. Whenever anything needed doing, I was there to help. If one of the vets needed something immediately, I was there. I wanted to do a good job. Here's what I didn't realize, that instead of helping the vet assistants, which is what I thought I was doing, in their eyes, I was showing them up. You see, what I didn't know was that they liked the vets to think that they were so busy that they didn't always have time to clean a treatment room or to do some of the other menial tasks. They would make the vets wait because they just weren't around to clean up a room or to provide something that the vets needed. So my desire to help, my conscientiousness, in effect, was making them look bad. The vets were working hard, trying to see as many patients as they could, and they were delighted when I was there to help, because they were so used to the vet assistants not always being available. So they started asking me to help out with other things that I really wasn't qualified to do, such as holding an animal when they were examining it or giving an injection. They just told me what to do and I did it. I was happy to help so that they wouldn't have to wait and the patient wouldn't have to wait. I thought I was doing a good thing, but the vet assistants made it very clear that they didn't appreciate me. They complained that I was doing things I wasn't qualified for, and in the end, they made me feel so uncomfortable that I just decided to leave. And I was just volunteering after all. But I felt really sad to leave because I actually enjoyed working there. I loved being able to help the animals that came in. And that is not the only experience I've had like that. It used to really confuse me because in my mind, I was just trying to do a good job and I couldn't understand why my colleagues didn't like me for it. I eventually discovered that for me, working for myself was the best option. Because now I get to do work that I love. I work with people I enjoy working with. I get to help people. I get to do what I want in the way that works best for me. But working for yourself is not the only way that you can love what you do. When I was volunteering at the Humane Society Clinic, if I had known back then what I know now, I would not have let myself be affected by the insecurities of other people. I would have continued to do my best to be available when I could. And if they didn't like it, well, I would know that it was their problem and not mine. So, if you love what you do now, but other people are spoiling it for you, the key is to recognize that their insecurities are being triggered. You might unknowingly be making them look or feel bad, which is what I was doing. But don't let that stop you from doing work that you love. You have to be able to let go of concerns about what other people think. And if someone at work is making your life really miserable, there are still things you can do, and we will be talking more about that in another chapter. You may be thinking, well, that's all very good. I have not been able to find a job that I love, and I'm only doing what I do because it pays well, and I need to be able to pay the bills. And of course, that is true for many people. And if that is the case for you, then I think it's really important to make sure that you incorporate something that you love into your life in some way. For example, I have a client who is a musician and he loves to play, but he doesn't feel that he can do that for a living. He's making really good money doing a job that he doesn't particularly enjoy. At first, he used to resent that, and he moved from job to job thinking that if he worked for a different company, he would be happier. But each time he moved, he ended up feeling the same. Now he's able to look at things in a different way. Yes, he loves his music, but he is not going to make a living doing that. So instead of being frustrated about that, now he sees that the job he does allows him to make a good living so that he can pursue his music as his hobby. Outside of work, he can play as much as he wants. And so he now appreciates his job because it enables him to pursue his passion, which is music. Do you see the difference? It's important that you find what it is that you love to do, and it may be that you can make a living doing that, or it may be that you make it a big part of your life outside of work. In this chapter, I also encourage you to think about ways you might be able to make a living doing something you love, if that's what you'd like to do. Whatever it is that you love to do, you will want to make sure that you know what it is and that you do it. That may be as your career, but it may not be, and that's okay. There are many benefits to being highly sensitive, and it's true that not everyone will know how to appreciate you. You want to make sure that you do what feels good and right for you, even if others don't know how to handle that.